Well, Blake, I have a question for you. What do you think it was worse, that hockey game or me scootering down Colfax at 10 o'clock at night by myself?
Oh man, dude. Okay, my thoughts on the hockey game are probably a lot different than most people's because I actually didn't think it was that bad. Like, obviously, not a fun game, but man, Colfax on a scooter at 10 p.m. Take some balls, man.
Yeah. It was not as bad as I thought. And honestly, neither was the game. Both of those things, the way I phrased them, made them sound a lot worse than they really were. Um, I wasn't a big fan of the game, especially if you saw my tweets during. And that could have been swayed by the fact that I was like crammed in a middle seat on a
Mm.
corner in the nosebleeds. So I was a bit uncomfy.
Was it just you?
It was just me.
One ticket, man.
Yeah. And the one dude in front of me just kept leaning over. And I'm like, that's what you don't need to do that. All you're doing is blocking the game from me. But it was fine.
Rude.
It was a frustrating loss nonetheless, especially after, the Sharks was supposed to be a bounce back game. It just kind of turned into a, you know, went off shit kicking. And this game wasn't bad from the Avs. It was just disappointing, I think would be the way I would put it.
Hmm.
Like if you look at the numbers, they're pretty solid in the Avs' favor. Um,
Yeah, I liked Nate's interview. He was just like, every chance that we gave up, just win in our net. And it was like, yeah, kind of felt like that.
yeah, I don't know. I don't like it. It did. It felt like they gave up, but like it wasn't for it wasn't like they were just giving up a chance and it was like an absolute softie. They were giving up some good chances. Um,
Hmm.
which is my problem is that I felt like they played a good hockey game, but this is something that I noticed before in other games is that you play a really good game, but you just have this one defensive collapse that like just
Hmm.
and the other team capitalizes on it. And when you yourselves aren't scoring on your chances, then you can't allow that. You can't have that. That's just not a way to win hockey games.
Hmm.
And as much as I thought there were some things I didn't like from the Avs, I thought I didn't think they really pushed super hard to come back in the third period. Um,
No,
the power play was atrocious. Um,
until it wasn't.
yeah, until like McKinnon was like, "I'll just be good,"
Just
and
gonna
then
smoke a puck by this dude.
yeah,
Hmm.
he's like, "I'm tired of being bad. I'm gonna be good," and then he's like, "All right, I'll go back to being bad."
Hmm. That was a fun goal. I don't know. Some goals just like get you jumping out of your seat a little bit,
Yeah,
just right in front of me. And I just like saw his eyes. He like wasn't even really looking at the net. He just, I don't know.
it was nice. It was right in
There's
front
just
of
so
me.
much deception in his little
Yeah.
wrister.
Um, I mean, it was pretty good. We can talk about. I don't know how you thought Nathan McKinnon played tonight. I was a hard not fan.
I mean, I didn't think it was like that. It wasn't like Seattle game bad, but it wasn't good.
I thought it was worse. I just there were like times on defense where I just wasn't. He just like didn't seem to care, and like he kept making these like bad passes. He missed the net on a breakaway, and I was like, okay, all right.
Uh, I don't know. I just didn't think it was that bad.
Uh,
Like I thought it was like he can play better.
I don't know. Given the fact that
I thought more of the I know that line got their shit rocked, but I thought that was more because of Lecky and Val. Like
I
they said,
thought,
guys, help out your center here.
I
Like
think it was the other way around.
I didn't like those two. They I don't like those two together, man.
Yeah,
I
no,
just don't think those three work.
the fact that they were still together at I think halfway through the game was a bit of a shock to me, given how Bednar likes to blend. I'm like, you
Hmm.
just gotta figure something
Well,
out here.
yeah, their best shifts throughout the game was the Rantanen, Comfer, McKinnon line. Like,
Yeah.
and
And I
then he
mean,
put Denis Malgin up there for a little bit of fun.
Dennis Malgin's really good.
Dude, well, he was horrible to start the game. Like his first few shifts, he was bad.
It's because I wasn't
And
there.
then Bednar like put him out there for a random shift at the start of the third, and he was just like, "It's Denis Malgin time." And the rest of the game, it was definitely Denis Malgin time.
Holy shit.
But
Lecky didn't even play 10 minutes at even strength at 5v5.
he was getting the shit beat out of him too. Like,
Yeah. I just
but
wasn't a fan of the first line tonight. Like, I don't know. It just wasn't.
they got they got their. I mean,
Yeah.
they
I
got
mean, it was.
pretty rocked.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's just more of the frustration. I sent out a tweet a couple days ago that was just kind of
Right.
looking at the expected goal share of all these lines they've tried in the past couple months as they've kind of had a semi-healthy top six. And you know, this McKinnon, Nichushkin, Lehkonen line was at 46% before the Sharks game. And I'm sure it's right around there still.
After
Um,
this game, maybe, yeah.
well, after San Jose, where they were like
Like, probably.
probably 90 to 10, and then this game it was probably 10 to 90. So
Yeah.
like, um, yeah, but like it just that line falls into this trap every once in a while where it's just like they're not playing that bad. They just aren't doing anything, you know?
Yeah, so that's the problem with this line is that you'll have these games where Mac isn't his best, and
Hmm.
Lehkonen and Nichushkin just aren't the play drivers. This version of Nichushkin especially, he's
Hmm.
still like I don't know if it's as much of him being injured or as much of him
Hmm.
being sick, a little bit of both. I don't know. I don't know the guy. But it's definitely like when he's not playing well, you just don't have anyone to drive offense on that line. And even when he is playing well, if they're really going hard at him and he's like creating space for them, sometimes they just can't finish.
Hmm.
And that's a
Yeah.
bit of the frustration with that line. That's why I
Hmm.
liked it better when it was Lehkonen and Rodriguez. And now that Rodriguez is finding his game, I think you could,
Dude, I would do it.
throw that there again.
It's so frustrating. I would just do it. I know, I mean, I know he hasn't been great. He was pretty good today.
Yeah, you could definitely
Um,
tell he found his groove a little bit because after he scored, he tried to take on the entire Kings team on a
yeah,
rush.
and then he got moved back down to the bottom six, and I was like, what? Like he's playing well, and
Yeah,
so I don't know what the deal is with that. It just seems like Bednar's being a hater, and he should put him
he
back with
he's
McKinnon and
giving
Lehkonen.
Erod the Berkey treatment.
Yes, it's annoying because Erod's a quality hockey player who just had a little slump there.
Yeah, now he's clearly getting out of it, so you want to do the best to continue to get him out of it.
Hmm.
But
Put him with McKinnon. I mean, it works so well,
right, I mean,
and I mean, Lekin and McKinnon always works because those two are just they just got that special
mhm.
sauce. And like Erod, I don't know, it just worked because Erod and Lekkonen play like I don't know, just those three play perfect complementary games to each other. Where
Yeah, everybody
Val and Lecky try to do the same thing.
does their own thing, and then I mean,
Hmm.
I like Val and Miko. I think you're getting
Yeah,
that's I think
that
that's a
helps
good one.
Miko a lot too.
And it also helps kind of raise the floor of that line with Comfer as the center. It helps insulate him a little bit better.
Yeah,
It
it
just
just makes no sense to me, man. Recently,
I hope he switches it,
yeah.
but
Well, and
um,
also it gets Erod back on his correct wing.
mhm,
Like he's playing the wrong wing right now. Like frustrating.
yeah,
Yeah. And then I don't know. I don't know. I kind of I know Cogliano O'Connor is like they're just attached to each other, but I don't know. I would I would maybe do something like a New Hook Nieto O'Connor. I don't know.
something like that. I mean,
Well, I don't know. Dennis Malgin's been so good. So I
I
don't know.
was gonna say I would probably go Malgin, Newhook, O'Connor, and then you get Nieto, Eller, and Cogliano. I mean, that's a nice fourth line.
Yeah.
That's like feels a lot like the fourth line from last year.
Yeah.
And then you get a little bit more. I mean, Newhook's defensive numbers have been pretty solid, and
They're
obviously,
just okay.
yeah, and O'Connor's are good, and Malgins
Always
have also been just all right.
Malgins are just okay. LOCs have been elite this year.
So it's like, you know, and then they're gonna drive play. I mean,
Yeah.
they're actually gonna create things for you, and I think this is one of the better games. The third line's playing it a little bit, but I mean, they just don't. It's just not a lot of offense on that thing.
hmm That's okay. That's okay with me. I've really liked Lars Eller the last two games.
Yo,
I,
he's forechecking really well. That
like
dude.
I can see it. I can see why they spent a second round pick on him these last two games. Like today, I thought he was. I mean, obviously LA is so much better than San Jose, and this game was actually competitive, and I just thought he was really good today.
Yeah, he
Like,
he can play with that energy that like
yeah.
O'Connor and Cogliano do, but since he's a little bit bigger, he can kind of
hmm
do a little
Like
bit
I
more of
see
the
the
work.
vision.
Hmm.
He plays a heavy game, and he's like a decent skater too. So
Oh yeah, no, he's a solid skater. Um, yeah, I don't know. I know some people have really quick to the gun on Lars Eller. I don't get
yeah,
it.
I mean, it's really rare for a player to just fit seamlessly in their first two games with a team.
I mean, right?
I mean, he's been in Washington for a long time now, so
Who has anybody this year done that? I mean, kind of O'Reilly, but he also got put next to John
Mitch
Tavares
Marner,
and Mitch Marner. Like,
yeah.
if you
So
throw out Lars Eller next to those guys, I bet he'll score a few goals.
yeah, I mean, it's like putting Matt Calvert with Nathan McKinnon. Like
Yeah,
Matt Calvert just found his way to goals.
right.
Um, but yeah, I just had some issues with the lines. Been pretty frustrated. So yeah,
Yeah,
we'll see.
it's. I think you gotta make a few changes at some point. Because this has been a few too many games. Like the only game like where they've been good was against the Sharks on a Sega Baba, and it's like,
Yeah,
and otherwise they've just been like, I don't know, just not quite good enough. They'll score a few goals, but it feels like they give it all back. It's just they can't consistently.
there's just some. I mean, the Sharks game was like Globetrotter stuff, like
Right.
because you're facing like a bottom five team on a back to back, and they just traded away their best forward. like
Right.
that game was never going to be close. And then yeah, I mean tonight we'll get into it obviously here in a little bit. Some of the individual goals, I just like they got bad luck, but they also like there's just a little something missing
Yeah.
from all the lines. Like they just don't gel,
Yeah.
you know.
It's definitely. I think there's gonna need to be a change, and I mean, Arizona and the Avs, obviously, it's very rarely a cakewalk, but I mean,
Yeah.
you'd hope this team comes with anger and kind of,
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, we'll
I mean,
see. I feel like,
Arizona's been like really bad on the road.
yeah, it's an all right time to tinker. I think, like, and not really
Yeah.
tinker. I mean, just kind of change the lines to something good.
Yeah. And you're probably playing like Keith Kincaid or something or like JoJo, right?
Maybe, yeah. I don't know after this one, dude. It's tough. That's the problem. I'll get into it later, but let's talk about the individual goals. First goal, I mean, bad pinch from Kale. Taves isn't really covering anything on the 2-on-1.
I thought he did a decent job. I just thought it was a really good job by Kopitar.
Yeah, I mean, God, I wasn't
I mean, he held it so long to where it was like, okay, now he can't pass it, but then he did pass it, you know?
right. I wasn't. I mean, I didn't like. I thought Taves was Well, I don't know that for
I mean,
that
obviously, you let it pass through as a defenseman. Like, you're
right.
kicking
It
yourself a little
doesn't
bit.
feel good, but I mean, it's
Hmm
2-on-1. They're kind of expected to be able to
hmm
score on those.
Yeah, it's a 2-on-1 with the Kings' two best forwards.
Mm-hmm.
Fiala's pretty good too. But
Yeah, I don't know. Kobe might be,
Kobe, he's dropped off a lot this year. Nobody knows it, but he,
it's because they've had other people step into,
yeah, I mean,
kind of
he's getting
fill his
old.
place. Yep.
So
But yeah, I mean, I don't have any like. I mean, that's a good play, bad pinch, but the Kings just kind of take advantage of it.
I kind of, so from my angle, it didn't look like that bad of a pinch because he could have easily got it. He just missed the puck. Like,
Yeah, but that's kind of the problem is that you pinch
yeah,
when you know for sure.
but like, he should have just, he like missed the puck. Like,
Yeah, and I guess
it was like an easy play that he would have, he makes that play 9 out of 10 times,
that's what attributes it
you know?
to it. It's just like if you're gonna pinch, then you have to make the play, and if you don't make that play, then it's a bad pinch and a bad play. I
hmm
mean, so
Yeah, yeah. And it kind of, I mean, it kind of sucked because the Avs were playing pretty well.
well, that was kind of my summary of the first period. The Avs kicked the Kings' ass, but the Kings just got the best opportunities and took advantage of them.
Yeah, yeah. The Kings,
I
they
mean,
didn't, I don't know, man.
it's a really nice 2-on-1 play, and their second goal is an absolute just snipe show from Gabe Vilardi.
hmm Yeah, I mean, that one's like, that one's frustrating because it's like you didn't even create any meaningful offense. You just like shot it from the goal line and it was just a perfect shot.
Yeah,
Like, and you're not blaming your goalie. Like,
yeah. There's just really nothing he can do. I know
yeah,
some people were saying it's like short side, and it's like that's not how that works. Just because it's short side doesn't mean it's, and
yeah.
it's not really short side either. It's like
I mean,
top
yeah.
shelf. I don't know. Whatever. And
Well,
that
and when
one's
you're
just annoying because you lose the battle. The puck battle.
that, and then that happens.
Right.
Um, and like, I mean, you're totally cool giving up a shot from right there, you know,
Right.
and
It just so happened to be one of the
it
Kings'
just
best
so happened
shooters.
to go into that little magical gap that you can beat short goalies on. So
Yep.
at like 85 miles an hour. So it's just
Right.
yeah,
It was yeah. It was one of those ones where in a reading you're like, I mean, from my angle, I'm like, did that go in? Because I was up in space.
yeah. I saw the top of the net kind of go up, so I was
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
what?
I didn't break out my binoculars for that one. So
Yeah.
it's like that one and the fourth one where you're kind of like, that sucks.
The third one, yeah. Well, I mean, we'll get to it. But then
Yeah.
The Avs did score.
Yeah. So I mean, the first period, good chances the Avs were the better team.
Yeah, and I really liked the Avs neutral zone in the first two.
Yeah, they were
They
definitely they
only
were
gave up 6 shots, and
yeah,
LA had two power plays.
right.
So
Yeah, the actual shots yeah, it was and they were really good on the penalty kill too tonight. That
yeah,
was
PK.
another penalty kill continues to be
That's what, like 4 games in a row. It's been
something like that.
super good, like
Um
super good.
and then you get to the second period, which isn't as good. The problem with the second period is the Avs do get power play chances and they do jack shit on them.
Yeah,
It was maddening.
it's pretty ugly. I'm not gonna hold it against the power play though tonight because they did end up going what 1 for 3, one for
Yeah,
four.
right. I mean, like you look at the process and you're like, but you look at the results and you're like,
hmm
yeah, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, sometimes I just don't really care about
Like
the process.
we
If
look
you
we look back at this game in like maybe even like a month, and we'll be
yeah
like, I don't any of us remember that the power play was as bad as it was.
yeah, I mean, and they score on it, so it's like,
Right.
all right, you guys redeemed yourself. It kind of felt like that the whole night. Whereas, like, if the Avs just get an inch of space, like the puck's going in their net. So
What are you chewing on? That's, sorry, I don't know what my dog's chewing on. Here, one second. Well, let's talk about the Avs' first goal really quick, because it does come shortly after the first
Mhm.
power play on a really nice shift from the
Mhm.
second unit, kind of. I think they
Yeah, they got
triangulated.
who'd they get off? They got one of the defensemen
Yeah,
off.
I don't remember if it was Bo or Taves.
Hmm. Um, but yeah, good shift.
Great work.
Honestly, pretty harmless. It looked like a pretty harmless shot, um, and it was a nice tip. So
Right.
that kind of when you're forced to play in zone offense instead of creating off the rush. Like I don't think the Avs got one odd man rush tonight besides the McKinnon breakaway.
I don't think so. And what
Mhm.
the other thing was that it was encouraging because this was how the Avs were likely going to have to be successful tonight, was getting in front of the net. And you could see, I
Mhm.
mean, they had so many tips, they just couldn't quite get them.
Yeah. A
Um,
lot of lucky saves too, where the puck just would like hit him.
yeah, this is
Yeah.
why this is where you need Gabe Landeskog and his magic tip.
Yeah, dude.
Um, but that was a really nice goal. Rodriguez was very happy about it, and Sam Girard continues doing good. Sam Girard rocked a crossbar in the first period,
He sure
and that
did.
was annoying.
Yeah, it was. He was really good today.
He was. He's
Um,
been good for a while.
yeah. I just feel like after every game nowadays, I'm just like, wow, Sam Girard was really good today.
It's like Sam
Hmm.
Girard, hell yeah, dude.
Hmm.
Um, it was. I mean,
Yeah.
um,
I loved him on the PK too. That play he made in the
oh, the poke
second
check one,
period.
yeah,
Yeah.
that one kept the game in reach, but it didn't really end up mattering.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I saw this tweet from like an analytics account on Twitter a couple weeks ago that compared Logan Stanley's PK stats to Sam Girard's PK stats.
Yeah,
And Logan Stanley's expected goals against per 60 on the PK is like 9, which is like super bad, like
yeah.
horrific. And Sam Girard's is like 4.2, which is terrific. Like I didn't know that. And
That's a great comparison. The tallest guy
I
versus
know,
very
right?
little guy.
Yeah, and it was like a hilarious tweet, I thought. And I was like, yeah, like these coaches, they fall for tall guy PK when it's not true because Sam Girard's really good at it and he's a little itty
Yeah,
bitty guy.
it's like tall guy PK can work if they're good, but like it's not just like, oh, you're tall, you'll be a good penalty killer. Like you have to
Exactly.
have some skating and some sense, and
Yeah, like Nikita Zadorov's a good penalty killer. Tyler Myers or Logan Stanley, not a good penalty
not very
killer.
good. Curtis
Yeah.
McDermott's not a great penalty killer.
Secretly Eric Johnson, not a very good penalty killer. Um,
I wonder if Eric Johnson would be a better penalty killer if he like stayed on his feet the whole time.
Now you know he doesn't. Now you know he would never do that. He's
In
Egypt.
in Magic fantasy land, you know. All right, and then this third goal is one where I don't know,
Yeah, I mean the top line.
worked.
This was a bad. I don't know if they got worked. It just felt like the puck
Yeah,
hit some things and bounced right to the middle, right on the King's stick, and it was like, guys, like that's just so unlucky. Like,
yeah. And my qualm with this one is more, I just want Devon Taves to like, he's focusing too much on the puck. He just needs to take that guy's stick and just let
yeah,
his goalie figure it out.
yeah, true. I mean, I just understand like all the plays the players made. Like, it's like I can see
Yeah,
where you're
and that
coming
was
from, and you
right.
just get scored on.
And I mean, that was something that I think was an issue tonight, is that the Avs couldn't finish or weren't getting the bounces, and the Kings were. And I don't feel like the Avs did enough to quite overcome that.
Yeah, I mean, and this goal, it's really soft too from
Yeah,
Georgiev.
this is the one that I have the biggest problem with from
Yeah,
Georgiev.
and it was just
It's probably
like
the only one that I do have a problem with.
the other three goals, like no problems
Yeah,
at all. And then this one's like, I mean, it's the third goal, right? And that's the biggest goal in a hockey game in the
right.
NHL is the third goal because mean, it's just the ball breaker. Like it's 2-1 now. Like you worked your way to a goal. Start of the period. It's a soft little shot, and it just leaks through you, and it's like, man, it just wasn't. It just wasn't great. It wasn't like great hockey by the Kings or anything. It wasn't bad hockey by the Avs or anything. It was just blah, and it was soft, and it ended up in your net, and it just felt bad.
Right. And the Avs did answer pretty soon after on the power play.
Yeah.
I thought
McKinnon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so they finally get set up, right? After 3 power plays of trying.
The first
They
unit
get
at
set
least.
up. They get set up because they realized, oh, let's just rim it around the boards.
Right.
Yeah. And because the Kings were so overcommitting on the line that if you just rim it around, they can't do anything about it. So finally get set up, but Rantanen and McKinnon are on the wrong side.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was like,
And I was like, dude, of course they finally get set up, and one of these two is going to do something dumb because they don't know how to play on their wrong side. But as soon as McKinnon got the puck, it was just like, all right,
he was like,
I got it.
this one's for you, Blake.
Yeah, just smoked one right by the glove, and I was like, yeah, it's my dog.
Yeah.
So
Kopi was pretty
beautiful
sassy
goal.
with his glove tonight too. Or
Mhm.
Corpy. Yeah. So it was
He had some issues
nice
with it too. Like he almost didn't save a Miko shot.
Yeah.
Just like
He
popped
was
off his glove. I was like, what?
I don't know. I mean this Jonas Corpusalo, like he can be on it, but he can also like
Mhm.
have his issues.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, I
He
mean
looks good in net,
I know a lot of people were I don't know. I don't think that's a bad I think it's a fine deal for them. I think
Yeah, I mean, if
the
Corpusalo plays well.
the bad part about it is probably the only bad part is probably trading Quick away, and that's not because of any sort of like play issue. I mean,
Mhm.
like it's not because
In
you're like missing his play. It's because
right, we're missing him in the locker room. Yeah,
I don't even know about that. Just you're missing
yeah,
him. Just like what he's done for
right. Yeah, I
he's a
mean, he's
guy that
buddies with Kopitar, Kempe, all the dudes who have been there. I
probably should
follow
have
Doughty,
retired as a King, but
probably. Yeah,
I was playing in Vegas.
yeah, but yeah, I think. Well, I don't know. Todd McClellan's kind of fallen into the trap. Like he played Gavrikov 23 minutes. I just don't know if that's what he wants to do.
Dude, every time I hear Todd McClellan, I'm always thinking that clip of Gabe Landeskog from the Stadium Series game. It's like,
Todd,
you're gonna sit
yeah,
there and trap it all night. You're gonna play hockey. Get
open
up
it
and
up,
hunt.
yeah. And then he's like Todd at
Come
the
on,
end.
Todd. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or yeah, he drops an F bomb in there too. I don't
Mhm.
remember where, but I have it saved on my phone. It's a classic.
It's so good.
I can find it really quick, but we could talk about their. I mean, what's there to talk about on the Kings' fourth goal?
It's just a face-off win, a shot, and a tip, and it goes in.
And it tipped
And
off
sometimes,
Girard and off
yeah,
Denis.
yeah, and sometimes that's just life.
Just
Unlucky.
unfortunate, man.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't think they were coming back anyway, even if it was 3-2.
I think if they hadn't given that one up, I would have felt confident.
I just wasn't feeling it. I just didn't. Just the vibes, you know.
I can get behind you on that. It just it's a very it's always about the vibes. Where is it? Oh, did I not? God damn
Yeah.
it. But I mean, on the grand scheme, what frustrates me about this game is that this is in the last, what is it, 5 games? No, 5 games. They've played 5 different hockey teams, and they've beaten one who is in the bottom 5 of the NHL.
Yeah,
You
they're
just
not
can't do
beating
that.
quality teams. Yeah.
And I looked at their record, and there's obviously some, the injuries and stuff, but they're 14, 12, and 4 against teams that are currently in the playoffs right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you take those 2 losses to Boston are complete nonsense. I mean, but given
You're icing you're icing
an
the
AHL
Eagles. Yeah.
And then you have that one overtime loss to the Rangers where you where you got chestied, even with the Eagles.
It was also, yeah,
Yeah, it was still the
it was like
Eagles.
Mikko Rantanen, Val Nichushkin, and the Eagles.
Yeah,
Just
and
like
then you got the
taking the ice.
one,
Yeah.
like the 5-0 against the Jets again during that injury spell. What
Mhm.
else was there?
Yep, that one was a Nathan McKinnon in the Eagles game too. Hmm.
Right. Yeah. And then what else was there? Obviously, but then you have that 6-game losing streak where you lose to Toronto, Vegas, and LA,
Yeah.
which, I mean, whatever. You get swept by Tampa. If you look at just the West, their record is actually pretty good because they're 2-1 against Dallas, 2-0 against Minnesota,
Uh-huh.
2-1 against Vegas, 0-2
Mhm.
against LA, 1-1-1 against Seattle, 2-0
Mhm.
against Edmonton, and 1-1-1 against Winnipeg. So it's
Yeah.
not as bad because these are the teams that you're going to play first. But
Yeah.
still, you want better, especially with this current lineup.
Mhm.
You had this great bounce back game against San Jose, and it just feels like you didn't utilize it properly. It wasn't, I don't know, they just didn't take it quite the right way. And
Yeah.
they didn't like take this game off or anything. Like they were just like, oh, well, we beat San Jose. Look at us. And the Kings were
Mhm.
like, well, we're just going to, like, they played well, but they just didn't play well enough, as well as they should have or could have.
Yeah, I think this for me it just goes back to these stupid fucking lines. Like it's stupid. Like it
I mean,
they have an analytics department like
yeah,
not fucking working, guys. Like
we're not the Rockies. We actually know what analytics are.
yeah, I mean they've made, you know, countless numbers of trades excluding Jack Johnson. With their analytics department, which is one of the best in the NHL. And
Jack Johnson was a vibe straight.
yeah, that was a vibes trade. Yeah, that was just
Pure
straight. Yeah,
vibes.
we just want Jack Johnson back. Yeah, even Bednar was like, we don't want it. We know his analytics are bad, but you know it's Jack Johnson. Like, come on. Um, but
But they weren't that bad here. So
yeah, it's like you guys have the power to like go to naturalstattrick.com and see that these lines don't work. They get caved like game in and game out. Like you know, so I don't know.
um yeah, it's something that needs to change. I mean, I feel like it should have changed during this game, but if it doesn't change by Arizona, if they lose to Arizona, or if they, beat Arizona and then lose to, like, I don't know. If they beat, I mean, they play Arizona and Montreal next. These are two
Mhm.
games you have to win.
If they keep the same lines that they had today, they're losing to Arizona. Like they're
Bold
just not going to win many
take
games
from the guy
with
who
how it
said
is right now.
that they would beat LA. Did you say, what did you say? Did you say it'd be 5-2 against? I don't know. I feel like you flipped the scoreline. I just, this is not just a dog at you. I just think it's kind of funny.
Did I say they'd beat LA? I don't remember.
You
I don't
said they
remember.
did, but I don't. And I mean, that's not. I'm just wondering if you said, because I remember you said an empty net goal. I don't remember if you said they beat
Oh,
them by 3 or 2. I just think it'd be funny if you like flipped it. Whatever.
look, I'm gonna be honest. I don't remember anything from
Yeah,
last
I
podcast.
know.
I like, yeah.
If I can't remember, then there's no hope in remembering. But you have, so your next. Well, shit. I'll even extend this to 8. You know what?
They like
Fuck it.
play
10
Toronto
games. The
once.
next 10 games, you play Arizona, Montreal, Detroit,
Yeah.
Chicago, Arizona twice, and then Anaheim.
Isn't it Arizona 3 times?
You play Arizona 3 times in this 10-game stretch.
Yeah. And like Toronto is sprinkled in there. And then it's just
Yeah.
a bunch of shitters.
It's Toronto and Pittsburgh, and Ottawa
Yeah.
is like, Ottawa's all right.
Ottawa will be trying hard because they're like, you know,
Yeah,
trying
they're
to make the
pushing.
playoffs. Yeah.
So you have 3 teams, 3 of those 7 teams that are like, good. And then the other 7 are awful teams. These are bottom 10, bottom 5 in the
Hmm.
NHL teams.
Yeah, so you need 7 of these games.
If
Like,
you walk away with anything less than like 14, even 15 points,
put it at 14, low bar.
14, I'll keep the bar a little bit low. And you know what? Like, you play Anaheim on the Sega Baba in Anaheim.
It doesn't matter, dude. That team's horrific. That team's so bad.
Like, well, here, I'll flip it the other way. You play Arizona in Mullet Arena, which is Voodoo Magic. I will be there, so
Oh yeah,
I
that's
hope
fun.
Voodoo Magic doesn't happen then. But just for the sake of it, if you lose that game, but you beat one of Toronto or Pittsburgh, I'll feel much better about it.
Hmm.
There's a world where the Avs could go 10-0 on this stretch if they
They
play good
should.
enough
That would
hockey.
make me happy.
That would be great. That's kind of what this team has been missing. But
They
I
just
mean,
need. They
it's a
just need
10
a
game win
little.
streak. You're not going to say, "Oh, just win 10 games in a row, guys." Come on, it's easy.
They can do it. It's easy. They just have to play well, and they have to. The lines have to be fixed. So
Yeah, it's
they won 10 games in a row with Jack Johnson playing 24 minutes a game last year.
yeah. They can do it if they play good. It's like you really want to beat the bad teams, and like you don't want to like lose a bunch of, and like it wouldn't feel good to lose to these bad teams. If you lose like more than 2 of these games to the bad teams, bad, very bad. But if you beat the
Bad
good
Avalanche.
teams, that's what I care about at this point. Because to me,
Hmm.
you've proven you can beat bad teams. You kick the shit out of bad teams. That's fine.
Except Chicago that one time.
Well,
That was
yeah,
sad.
and I mean, whatever. But
Hmm.
well, technically they haven't proven they could beat Arizona. But
Can they beat Arizona though? I don't know.
who knows, man. Um, but they have, you just have to prove you could beat good teams. That's what matters come the postseason, because you're not going to play Arizona and Chicago in the postseason. You're going to
Like,
play. I mean, you're not going to play Toronto or Pittsburgh until
I
the
mean,
finals.
Minnesota's roster is not very good either.
Right.
Yeah.
And then things get a little tougher because then you're in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
But no, you're right, because I mean, this is where you got to eat. Minnesota, Kirill Kaprizov's hurt, man, for a month.
Yeah.
Like,
And then you play Dallas. Gonna want revenge there.
yeah, and you play Minnesota during this stretch too. Like,
Yeah.
you have to get second place. Like,
At the
just
very least.
just just get Minnesota at home. And then
You need to
if you
guarantee yourself at least one home ice advantage.
yeah, and then if you I mean, if you win the division, awesome, but like with how the injuries have played out, like
I'm not gonna be like, oh, you didn't win the division? What a bunch of bums.
yeah, I mean Tampa Bay has been perfectly fine in third place every year. So,
Yeah, I was thinking about that on the way home. I was like, shit, they've been third the last 2 years.
yeah. And the year before that, what were they? I think like second.
I think they were second that
But that was the bubble year, so there was no home ice
yeah,
advantage
there
or
was
anything.
there was no home ice and there wasn't
I
divisional
mean,
seating.
last change obviously, but that's it.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Last change isn't what got Tampa through that.
no. Mm-mm. Being awesome is what got them through that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And maybe playing a
Maybe playing 17 million bucks over the cap too.
Yeah, I've always thought it was weird how people were like, but it's in the rules. And I'm like, look, $18 million, that would get you Cale Makar and Mikko Rantanen this year, dude. Like, you can't tell me that that's just like, that doesn't put a
Mhm.
fat asterisk.
It would get you those two, and it would also get you Jack Johnson.
You could also
So
throw Jack Johnson in there.
don't
You
forget
could actually
about it.
throw, if you wanted to like put someone good, you could throw Bowen Byram or Alex Newhook on that too.
Jack Johnson.
Jack Johnson.
Hmm.
Bet sauce, baby. All right. Well, let's do our 3 stars. If we can.
I don't know. Like Sam Girard was dope.
Sam Girard was dope.
Lars Eller
I like Marzeller.
was good. Erod was good. Denis
Yeah.
Malgin was such a vibe tonight.
When is
I'll
it?
just go with those four, no particular order.
Just gonna get an 81 jersey that just says vibes on the back.
Yeah.
Just
Or
throw my
just
money
it's
away.
Denis Malgin. I would get one that says it's Denis Malgin time.
It's still a small time. I actually
Mhm.
my thing when he scores is it's Denny's delivers, because I think I've heard
Oh
that in the
yeah.
commercial, and I'm like, this works.
For me, it's not when he scores; it's when he steps onto the ice. I turn to my dad and I'm like, "It's Denis Malgin time."
Get ready, bring on the popcorn, boys.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would go.
He put a puck through Drew Doughty's legs, dude.
It was
Fucking
dude,
nutmeg them.
and then he had that one where he like almost like chipped it over Corpy.
He dangled the pants off the entire team, and then just no. I think he just got around a guy. But then,
I'm
yeah.
convinced though he doesn't pass.
Oh no, there's none of that.
There's no
No, no,
passing
no.
for Dennis Malgin.
No. He's got more important stuff to do.
I don't know if you saw if Evan Rowell said like the Dennis method for Evan Rowell, and so
Mhm.
the N stand for me. The N stands for no passing.
Oh yeah. We can't have that. Um,
I mean, why pass to people who are just worse than you? Just
exactly. Yeah, they're just worse. Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean,
Why
I
pass to
I
people who are
honestly
worse than you?
those three are fine with me. I mean, in this game, I don't know. I wasn't on the like it was Girard and Erod on the first goal, and then it was Kale, Nate, and Miko, and neither of those three were particularly good tonight. So
All of them are bad on the
yeah,
same day,
so
and that creates a 5-2 L.
yeah, all three were bad on the same day. Someone go get a lottery ticket or something, because that does not happen often.
How's this year?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mostly just because it's more when are those three actually in the lineup together?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's enough for us. We'll catch you hopefully after a bounce back W against Arizona. We'll see, because Arizona is voodoo.